Aston Martin is the gentleman's car. So the project of this week is an Aston Martin DB9, which is an absolutely beautiful car with a V12. Not to forget, that's very important. This one needs a lot of cleaning, polishing, and also a very nice wax, some leather repair, because it's quite dusty and dirty. As you can see, wheels are also they also need some attention. So I'm gonna grab the keys. I'm going to start this up. And Aston Martin was owned, I don't know if it is still owned by Ford, but therefore we have this Ford Focus or Ford Mondeo key. So we're gonna wash the Aston Martin first, and therefore we use shampoo and we use the snow foam as well. And at the end we need the drying towel too. And also, very important for the Aston Martin, we need to clean the box of our front of the car, because otherwise we make scratches. Very important to use this. And this is actually my window wiper of the Range Rover L322 project, but that later in another video. So first we're going to start now washing the beautiful Aston Martin. So as you can see, the wheel cleaner gets purple when it gets touched with dirt. You see it color change. So no worries. If you see this, nothing is happening. Just the dirt is losing up, and then we can brush it and clean it. So now we're going to wash the car, and we actually have quite some flies on the bumper. And yes, you can just rub around with your sponge and make a lot of scratches, then they will go off. But we can also use a bucket of spray. Also a lot of flies here in between the vents. Let them soak in for a while, and then it will come off super easy. So we're going to start doing the paint correction. There will be a major difference, I think. I'm going to show you around why we're going to do that. First of all, we have a lot of small cleaning scratches, or swirls that we are calling. Very small cleaning scratches, which we will get out with a light polish. But then we also have some bigger scratches, not super big, but we do have them, especially here underneath on the door, getting in and getting out. We have quite some more markings and scratches, and some deeper scratches, as you can see here.
which we're also going to try to get out. And also here at the door handle, we have many scratches. Will not be a major paint correction, we'll do a medium one, but most of them will not be visible anymore after that. So going back to the rear panel, we actually see that this part is painted, and they stopped around here and they did a blend somewhere here. As you can see, wait, the light, maybe you can see it, the blend will come in somewhere here. I don't think you really see that on camera. I think now you can see it. There you go. And after a while, when they polish the blend away, you see the line coming back. And I try now to lightly polish it here at the end, and then it is gone. So that's what we're going to do, and that will not be visible anymore after a polish. But sometimes when you polish it too much, we will get the line even more visible. So that's what we don't want. So this is fine. We're going to do a very light polish and then wax it, and hopefully it will stay away for a long time, but someday it will probably come back. So I already did the bonnet, and that came out pretty nice, and the shine is very, very deep. You see all the metallic flakes very well, so that's a major difference. Also, we had a lot of scratches down there around the logo from grabbing the bonnet the whole time. Also, these should be polished up. They're not so nice anymore. They should be very shiny, but they're not anymore. So this will also be a very big difference, I think. And then most of all, we have to do a lot of cleaning. You see here old wax residue coming out from the previous owner. He waxed the car with some cheap wax, and then you will get this. So we're gonna get that out as well. The wheels will be coated, and the wax will be waxed with a 50% pure Kanobo wax to make the shine even more than we already have here. And when we did all of that, we're going to move on to the interior, but that will be for a later stage. First of all, we're going to do the paint correction and spend some hours to get this paint very glossy. So let's go. So I just wanted to show you in the middle of the paint correction how the color difference looks like, because you actually see a massive big difference. So this is polished now with a microfiber pad, and you see how deep the color is, how deep the black, and you see all the metallic flakes so much better than you actually see up here. So the metallic flakes really are covered by the dullness of the paint, and here you have a very deep shine black, and you see all the metallic flakes, and there are quite a lot. This silver metallic, and this is very dull, not been polished for a very long time, and maybe you don't see that so much on camera, but the color difference actually is really big compared with the polished part. And from a distance it looks all fine, but closer looking at all the bits that's polished, color difference is much more beautiful. So yeah, if you now also have a black paint, here you can see what you can get out of it. And now we're going to cover the door as well and make the door the same level of finish we have here. So guys, this was the last part of the paint correction, and the gloss really improved. I'm really happy with the result. And also now I touched all the lines of the car, and you actually know the car a bit more, and the lines are just beautiful. It's not like screaming, but
it is just there. And if you think about Aston Martin, you also think about James Bond. Basically, Aston Martin is James Bond, at least to me. And James Bond is the gentleman. So if you are a gentleman, you need an Aston Martin. And also looking at the car with the long nose and the beautiful back as Aston Martin is used to. And we have here the convertible, which is actually called the Volante. And the lines are beautiful. I mean, quite often with convertibles, they look sometimes a bit strange, out of proportions. They cut off somewhere, which not really they had to be. But this one, just a very cool line. And if you want a convertible, I think this is one of the cars you should actually have, because the lines of the convertible are fantastic. So we are using carnauba wax, and you have to understand that pure carnauba is as hard as a stone. You can't apply it on the paint. So we use actually now 50% pure carnauba. I think the highest you can get is maybe 90 or 89%. It's a pretty expensive stuff, and this one is price quality wise I think the best choice for most cars. So we're going to take it in our hand because this is still quite hard. It's not very soft, and then we have to heat it up in our hand palm to make it very soft, and then when it is melted basically we can apply it on the paint. And that is what we're going to do, and that with the whole car. If you now have a flat black car, then you have to be very careful because that paint is very soft and you can make scratches. But if you make sure it is very soft and warm, then it is no problem. Also, we're going to use no gloves or anything, because those gloves are also too hard and they also make scratches on the paint. So that's very important not to do. And the good thing is also you can get with your hands in all the edges and places where you hardly can get to otherwise. So therefore that's pretty nice to do. And you actually feel all the imperfections of the paint a lot better than you do it with some kind of applicator or glove. If you want to know your car, do this, then you know every edge and every problem of your paint. So the whole Aston Martin is waxed now with carnauba wax, and now it's time to wipe everything off. And the cool thing about the wax is you can leave it on. There's actually no problem. You can do the whole car and then wipe everything off after. It's not like a coating, then you have to have flash times and you have only 10 minutes or 15 minutes to wipe it off, otherwise it will be impossible. With wax, that's no issue. So an Aston Martin is the gentleman's car, and also it is very deeply refined and handcrafted. It is like a gentleman and not like some kind of influencer with a very screaming Lamborghini Urus that screams for attention. You have a lot of attention with this as well, but in a completely other way. So the paint is now beautiful waxed, and now we are left with the wheels. We want to protect the wheels as well. We can actually put wax on wheels, however it doesn't really make sense because you will touch them with some heavier chemicals, mostly with like wheel cleaner, and heat will be also an issue, and wax can't really handle that much. Therefore the wheels should be coated and not re-waxed, and also resistant to some harsher chemicals. So therefore we're going to use a ceramic coating for the wheels. We already degreased them with pure alcohol, so now it's time to put the coating on, leave that, wipe it out, and then the wheels are protected as well. And obviously we're also going to coat the brake calipers with it as well. So since the interior is looking fresh and also smells fresh again, we're now going to protect all the leather, because we have quite a lot of leather inside the interior. Everywhere where you look, you see leather coming out, and that looks very, very nice. So we're gonna treat the leather with a conditioner of the Resto and make sure we protect everything, and make sure that it will not dry out. And also, if you want this stuff, link is in the description down below if you want to buy the Resto leather conditioner, specially made for cars, because quite often it happens that these leather conditioners get very slippery, and when you apply it on your seat it will get very slippery and you move around your seat, and you don't want that in a car. So especially made for cars, and also it leaves not a glossy finish, and that's very important to me because we clean everything and then you get this kind of matte finish again. This car has a bit of a satin finish, and this stuff makes sure you're not getting any very glossy finish that looks very ugly, and we don't want that. So if you want to have a good leather conditioner, look in our web shop and buy. So the interior is now completely done. We steam cleaned the interior because it was very smelly, I believe. Some of moldy smell there was in the cabin. This can actually happen when you have a soft top, and when the soft top is wet and you put them in your garage with everything closed, you can have that smell quite quickly. So we actually cleaned everything and the smell is now out. This feels now very fresh. It is not only looking fresh, it also smells very fresh. So that's a very good thing. And also what I want to show you is these doors, because they co-open like in the air. So you have to push them up. It's not like a Lamborghini door, but they kind of all go in the air and you have to push them up. It's a bit more heavier, so that's the downside, but just extremely cool looking. And one part we already saw. First of all, the design is just absolutely amazing. I just love it. The steering wheel is just cool. This piece, the centerpiece, is a very cool design, and all the beautiful leather in the car is just amazing. So you already saw just in a minute that we had this Ford Mondeo key, and people did not really like that. So in the later ones, the facelift ones, they had made some kind of very fancy key, but yeah, why not? But about that, we have quite some other parts of other cars. From Jaguar they had used a lot of parts as well. Also, actually this switch up here for the mirrors and the windows, they are actually from a Volvo V70, and so there are many more parts used from other cars. And you can maybe say, what's stupid, why did they do that? It destroys the car, but I think it's a good thing, because Aston Martin was not the most reliable car back in the day, and using these parts that are proven to work, because they are already built in thousands and thousands of cars. They're proven to work, and that makes this car a lot more reliable than you actually think. And also I think a lot of these buttons are probably used in some other cars. I don't know exactly which ones. Also in the inside smells like a Jaguar. That's also quite funny. So a lot of Volvo, Jaguar parts and also Ford parts are in this car. So that's not a bad thing that they use these other brands' parts. It makes the car a lot more reliable, as I just said. And also, if you want to replace something, it's a lot cheaper, because you just pick a Volvo part from the scrapyard and replace it, and you don't have to overpay with Aston Martin to maybe pay a lot of money for some kind of stupid window switch, which you can also use from your Volvo V70. So that's, I think, a very, very good thing. So now the paint is done, the interior is done, and we have to go to the engine bay now as well. So let's go. They use again a lot of parts from other cars, and basically the 6-liter V12 is not really a 6-liter, it's a 5.9-liter V12, and they used two Ford V6 Duratec engines, and they made a V12 out of this. So they're not really welded two V6 engines onto each other. No, they use design basically to make this engine and re-engineer that whole thing. So it's not that they just welded two V6s to each other, but again they use a very proven design to make this car very reliable, and I think it's a very good thing. I believe, so far as I know from all the stories I see, this engine is also pretty reliable. It is actually hand built, so it's still an English car, so that some kind of German Porsche that is maybe a bit more reliable than this, but they made big steps from the past. They had built a quite reliable car, I think, here. But yeah, again, they still have some kind of issues that come up, because it is still an English car. So we do have 450 brake horsepower for the earliest cars. I think we now have the 2007 one. I'm completely sure, I believe 2007. And the facelift had 470, and the early ones had 450 brake horsepower. I actually don't know if this is the facelift or not. I have to look into that. But the facelift had then 470 and the early one 450. And then we have the sound. The sound is really amazing. You just heard it in the beginning. So the car is not very loud. It is very refined, and that says everything. I don't have to say more about that. A real gentleman's car. So speaking about the engine, basically we have here the air intakes on both sides, going to inject air into the engine up there, and so the airflow is inside here and goes into the engine, and this is also for the other side. And then here we see the alternator sticking out. This is, I think, steering fluid to fill up. And then we see here these aluminium struts, and these are there to make sure the chassis is feeling much stronger, because the whole chassis, or at least the biggest part of the chassis, is completely from aluminium to make it a lot lighter. You see that up here as well, good, and up there. A lot of things are made from aluminium. That's very, very good, and you have then quite a light car for its size, because you have to save some weight, because this engine is huge and also quite heavy. as well. So that is finished, and yeah, this comes finally together. Beautiful Aston Martin. So we just finished polishing the chrome from the exhaust and also the grille a little bit. The grille is some kind of an issue because they have that quite often that they stain and they have to replace the grille. This one is also, we saved it quite a bit, but it's not perfect. So for a perfect car we need to put a new grille, as an issue you see quite often with these Aston Martins. But for the rest, this Aston Martin DB9, the bridges glass is finished. By the way, DB9 comes from David Brown, the previous owner of Aston Martin, there the name comes from. So the Aston Martin DB9 Volante convertible is finished. So we're gonna now put the car outside, grab the Ford Mondeo keys and put the car outside and check all the details and go over everything. So to make sure this car is really perfect. So let's do that and finish off this beautiful Aston Martin. So guys, the Aston Martin is finished. Thank you for watching for this amazing episode. I really loved working on this car, and this will be maybe in my collection in the future as well. But first, before we're going home, we're going to make a video about the differences between a wax and a ceramic coating, because on this Porsche 911 G model Targa 3.2 we put a ceramic coating on, and here we put a wax on. And what is the differences? Why would we do that? Well, I'm going to explain you that in the coming video. So if you want to see that, please subscribe to our channel and don't miss that out. So thank you for watching and see you next time. Goodbye.